What if death isn't the end but a doorway? Millions who've brushed against death report near-death experiences, out-of-body visions, tunnels of light, even reunions with lost loved ones. But here's the mystery. These aren't hallucinations. Survivors emerge changed, fearless of dying, radiating love, and convinced consciousness lives on. Scientists are baffled. Could NDEs prove the mind isn't just the brain? Or are they the brain's final survival trick? One thing's certain. After hearing their stories, you'll never see life or death the same way. Stick around, we dive into the science and the secrets the other side might be hiding. Near-death experiences represent a profound and widely reported phenomenon, characterized as altered states of consciousness that can affect individuals irrespective of age, sex, or religious affiliation. These deeply subjective experiences frequently emerge during life-threatening events, such as cardiac arrest, coma, or severe trauma. Though they have also been documented in less perilous circumstances like fainting, intense anxiety, or even during an orgasm, the core features recounted by those who undergo NDEs exhibit remarkable consistency. Common elements include an overwhelming sense of inner peace sensations, of detaching from one's physical body, traversing a dark environment, often described as a tunnel or void, a comprehensive panoramic, review of one's entire life encountering a brilliant light entering an other realm, and communicating with entities or deceased loved ones. Despite the often dire and life-threatening contexts in which they arise, NDEs are predominantly described as rich, intense, and profoundly positive experiences. Their distinct and recurring prototypical elements serve to differentiate them from ordinary subjective states like dreaming, which are infinitely variable. The term near-death experience was first coined by psychiatrist Raymond Moody in 1975. His pioneering work identified a constellation of 15 recurring elements. Yet he noted that no two accounts were precisely identical, and no single element appeared in every narrative. Building upon this foundational work, Bruce Grayson later refined the categorization of NDE features into 4 distinct components: cognitive, affective, paranormal, and transcendental, providing a more structured framework for their analysis and study. The International Association for Near-Death Studies, established in 1981, plays a pivotal role as a nonprofit organization dedicated to the scientific study, research, and dissemination of information concerning NDE phenomena, as well as providing support to experiencers. Formal scientific inquiry into NDEs gained significant momentum following the publication of Moody's seminal book, Life After Life, in 1975, which brought these experiences to wider public and academic attention. NDEs are not rare occurrences. Estimates suggest they affect a considerable percentage of individuals who survive close brushes with death, with some surveys indicating millions of adults in the United States alone have reported such experiences. From a clinical perspective, NDEs are considered highly significant due to their profound and pervasive impact on individuals' attitudes and behaviors, the potential for misinterpretation as psychopathological states, and their capacity to deepen the understanding of consciousness itself. Contemporary scientific hypotheses attempt to explain NDEs as a synergy of cerebral electrical activity spikes and the release of specific hormones, potentially serving as a brain's defense mechanism or coping strategy during extreme physiological stress. While some theories propose NDEs as a form of hallucination or a subjective phenomenon arising from disturbed bodily multisensory integration, it is crucial to note that NDEs are generally distinguished from drug-induced hallucinations or other altered states by their coherence, profound meaning, and consistent positive aftereffects. For instance, studies comparing NDEs to experiences induced by substances, like ketamine or DMT, highlight that NDEs are often described with greater clarity, meaning, and a unique sense of being at the frontier of death, unlike the weird or confused perceptions associated with certain drug states or severe hypoxia. Furthermore, memories of NDEs possess a unique vividness and remarkable stability over extended periods, often being perceived by experiencers as more real than ordinary autobiographical memories. The study of NDEs reveals a compelling paradox. While there are universally recognizable core features within these experiences, Each NDE remains uniquely individual in its specific manifestation. Reports consistently highlight prototypical elements such as out-of-body sensations, encounters with light, tunnel experiences, and life reviews across diverse individuals. Yet concurrent observations indicate that no two accounts are precisely the same, and not every element appears in every narrative. This suggests that NDEs are not a rigid, fixed sequence of events, but rather a flexible framework of potential perceptions. The human brain, or consciousness, may access a common pool of archetypal experiences or processes during states of extreme physiological duress. But the precise way these elements are experienced, ordered, emphasized, is filtered through the individual's unique consciousness, personal history, and possibly even subconscious expectations. This nuanced understanding challenges purely reductionist explanations that might seek a single, uniform neurological correlate for all NDEs. It points to a complex dynamic interplay between universal biological mechanisms, such as the observed spike in cerebral electrical activity, and the profound influence of individuals' subjective interpretation. This interaction hints at the significant role of consciousness in shaping experience, even at the very boundary of life and death, reinforcing the inherent difficulty in fully explaining NDEs solely within current, often materialistic scientific paradigms. The evidence also points to NDEs as a distinct category of altered consciousness, differentiating them from mere hallucinations. While scientific inquiry explores brain activity and draws parallels to drug-induced states, such as with psychedelic drugs or ketamine, crucial distinctions are consistently observed. NDEs are characterized by a unique feeling of being on a frontier of death, are described as more complex and meaningful than typical drug-induced mental imagery, and generally lead to profound clarity and lasting positive transformation. In stark contrast to the confusion, bizarre images, or agitation often associated with certain drug states or severe hypoxia. Furthermore, the extraordinary vividness and long-term stability of NDE memories stand apart from the often fleeting or unreliable nature of typical hallucinatory memories. This pattern of evidence suggests a growing scientific recognition that while NDEs undeniably involve neurological processes, they cannot be simply dismissed as hallucinations in a pathological sense. Instead, they represent a distinct, coherent, and profoundly meaningful altered state of consciousness. This evolving understanding has significant implications for how NDEs are perceived and managed clinically. If NDEs are reductively dismissed as mere hallucinations, the profound aftereffects, the need for specialized integration support, and the experiencer's subjective reality can be overlooked or invalidated. Recognizing their distinct nature validates the experiencer's reality and opens crucial avenues for more appropriate therapeutic interventions and societal responses. Moreover, it challenges the boundaries of contemporary neuroscience, compelling researchers to explore how such coherent, complex, and transformative experiences can arise under conditions of severe physiological stress. Profound positive transformations, a reorientation of self-near-death experiences, consistently act as powerful catalysts for profound and lasting transformations in an individual's personality, attitudes, and fundamental life philosophy. These changes are frequently described as beneficial and lead to a significant reorientation of values. Altered relationship with mortality. A consistent and hallmark change reported after an NDE is a significant reduction or complete elimination of the fear of death. This represents a profound reorientation of one's relationship with mortality, with one study quantitatively showing fear of death decreasing dramatically from 77% to 13% among NDErs. Experiencers frequently come to believe that death is not fearsome, and that life continues beyond physical demise. This is often accompanied by a strengthened conviction in post-mortem existence, with belief in an afterlife increasing from 25% pre-NDE to 84% post-NDE in a comparative study. Paradoxically, individuals who experienced an NDE as a result of a suicide attempt rarely reattempt suicide, often expressing significantly stronger objections to it, frequently rooted in new transpersonal or transcendental beliefs gained from their experience. Enhanced prosociality and empathy. NDEs commonly precipitate a fundamental shift from an ego-centered to an other-centered consciousness. This means a reduced focus on personal desires and an increased attunement to the needs and well-being of others. There is frequently a strong inclination to love unconditionally and a marked increase in empathy for others. Quantitative data indicates that compassion for others increased from 25% pre-NDE to 78% post-NDE in one study, demonstrating the significant impact on prosocial behavior. This heightened empathy and sense of interconnectedness can lead to a deeper appreciation for ethical principles like the Golden Rule, which is often perceived not merely as a moral commandment, but as an inherent, indisputable law of nature. A significant majority of respondents in one study reported it's becoming more helpful and more compassionate or understanding towards others after their NDE revaluation of values. Experiencers consistently report a decreased interest in conventional status symbols, professional success, and material possessions. This reflects a profound reevaluation of what truly holds value in life, moving away from external markers of success. They tend to perceive personal gain, especially at the expense of others, as irrelevant or undesirable. Ends frequently imbue individuals with a new, profound sense of purpose or meaning in their lives. Experiencers often emerge convinced of a beautiful, peaceful, and joyous life to come, which fuels their heightened sense of purpose in the present. This video will be of interest to anyone who has ever had a near-death experience or NDE, and especially those who have undergone profound personality changes as a result. Let's explore this fascinating topic further. In my previous video, we delved into the compelling evidence demonstrating that genuine, deep, and profound NDEs consistently lead to significantly deepened spiritual consciousness. We examined data showing that this shift often manifests as an increased spiritual connection to the world, and a notable trend towards a more personal, inward spirituality, and a reduced emphasis on organized religious affiliation. In this video, we will focus specifically on two noteworthy consequences of these deepened spiritual changes: increased inner strength and a more direct, personal spiritual connection. We will begin by discussing the concept of increased inner strength, which many NDEs report experiencing after their profound spiritual awakening. Experiencers may report heightened self-esteem, greater confidence and flexibility in navigating life's challenges, and a general feeling of being emotionally stronger. Many also describe becoming more intuitive and more attuned to guidance from a perceived higher power. These changes resonate with the common human desire to find meaning and value in suffering, and also align with certain theological perspectives that view adversity as a catalyst for spiritual growth and character development. However, it is important to acknowledge that while some NDEs do report increased inner strength, this is not a universal or consistent finding across all NDE populations. Some experiencers may not necessarily feel stronger or more resilient, but instead may continue to struggle with fear, anxiety, or other emotional challenges. This variation is important to consider as it highlights the complexity and highly personal nature of NDE experiences and their aftermath. That said, the available data offer a compelling perspective on the transformative effects of NDEs, how they can profoundly impact one's sense of inner strength and resilience. It is crucial to recognize that the transformative effects of NDEs are distinct and significantly more impactful than those merely experienced by surviving a life-threatening event, or LTE for short. Without an NDE, a key comparative analysis by Pargament et al. Revealed that surviving an LTE without an NDE does not produce the same powerful life changes commonly associated with NDEs. Their data showed that while both groups underwent changes in belief and behavior, only the NDE group exhibited substantial increases in belief in a higher power, the afterlife, compassion, and concern for humanity, personal growth, and spiritual well-being. Specifically, 88.5% of NDErs reported large life changes versus only 14% of LTE survivors. Moreover, when comparing the degree of change, 54.8% of NDErs describe their changes as large compared to only 16.8% of the LTE group. This compelling evidence suggests that the specific subjective experience of the NDE itself, with its unique phenomenological content, is the primary and indispensable catalyst for these profound personality shifts. This finding has significant implications for our understanding of NDEs as distinct, deeply meaningful experiences that profoundly impact not only one's worldview, but also their very core identity and being. Further analysis of the qualitative data revealed that the single most prominent change for NDErs was a newfound sense of interconnectedness with all people and the environment. This finding aligns with the common human desire to find unity and harmony in a world often marked by division, conflict, and ecological imbalance. It is crucial to recognize that the subjective experience of the NDE, including its phenomenological content, is the primary driver of these significant personality changes, rather than merely a generalized response to physiological threat or trauma. This establishes a clear cause and effect relationship, setting NDE-induced changes apart from generic psychological responses to life-threatening situations. This nuanced perspective is critical for comprehending the true transformative power of NDEs and their capacity to shape one's worldview, values, priorities, and sense of purpose. It underscores the need to study the subjective quality and content of NDEs, not just their physiological correlates, to truly appreciate their profound and enduring impact. Furthermore, this has significant implications for clinical practice, suggesting that surviving a critical illness with an NDE is qualitatively different from surviving one without. Therefore, distinct approaches to support and therapeutic intervention may be necessary. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative and would like to support our work, please consider liking the video, subscribing to our channel, and sharing your feedback in the comments below. Your engagement helps us continue creating valuable content on near-death experiences and other related topics. What's next for near-death experience research? One of my top 5. Number 1. Longitudinal studies. We need to continue to follow the people who have had near-death experiences to see how they integrate the experience into their lives, how their personalities change over time, and to see if there are any long-term benefits or challenges. Number 2. Neurobiological exploration. We need to explore the neurocorrelates of near-death experiences using advanced neuroimaging techniques. This will help us to understand the interplay between brain activity and consciousness. Number 3. Therapeutic development. We need to develop new therapeutic interventions for people who have had distressing near-death experiences. This includes trauma-informed care and support for children who have had these experiences. We also need to train more professionals to understand and help people who have had NDEs. Number 4. Cross-cultural analysis. We need to continue to study near-death experiences across different cultures to better understand the universal elements of the experience and how culture shapes people's interpretation of it. Number 5. Societal empathy. We need to explore how the insights and the mechanisms of near-death experiences, such as ego dissolution and interconnectedness, can help us to develop new interventions to increase empathy, compassion, and prosocial behavior in society. The study of near-death experiences has the potential to not only transform our understanding of consciousness, but also to revolutionize the way we approach death and dying. It can also help us to create a more compassionate and interconnected world.